So, what should the community take away about where Oxnard is today? Like, where have we made some progress?
Um, I think one of the things that I want to just back up a little bit, and we touched on it last year, so I don't want to be that boring about it, but is understanding where our revenue comes from. We talked about income taxes, and none of that comes to the city. Just, that you pay that, but that's not city money. But that's similar with property taxes and sales taxes as well, which are our main revenue source. So our property taxes, they're about 30% of our overall revenue, and our property taxes are strong, but not all of that money you pay on your property tax comes to us. Only about 17% of that money comes to the city of Oxnard. And same thing with sales tax. So the majority of our sales tax, which is at 9.25 now, I know we get some flack for that of how high it is, but I think you can see that we're putting that to good use in the community. But of that 9.25, the lion's share goes to the state. Over 4% goes to the state, or just around 4%. 3% comes back to Oxnard. And of that, Measure O is a portion of that. And I know we've talked about that for many years with inside City Hall, but for those of you that don't know, Measure O sunsets in 2029. And with that comes $20 million annually in today's dollars that we will not have. So it's really important that Measure E that we have coming in, because that is solely for Oxnard's use. So just kind of understanding how important that revenue source is for the city. I just want to kind of lay that context of what the takeaway should be is that's a vital lifeline for us to be able to provide services and restore services within the community. I think on top of that, there's also just the financial progress that we've made. We talked about that in our budget last year as well, about the 7 kind of pillars of financial stability. And within those financial stabilities, fund balance is one of them. And I know that's a term that probably not a lot of people would use, but that's kind of after you use everything for your normal operating expenses, paying payroll, buying equipment, buying materials, you have a fund balance. And the general rule is to have 2 months worth of expenses within that fund balance. And during our difficult times, we were down, so for us that's 16%, we were down to 2.2% during those difficult years. So we didn't have a bank account, if you would, if there was an emergency or we needed to do something. We had no savings account to go into. We were down to 2.2%.
Wow.
$3 million-ish is all we had kind of in our bank account. And today, and this is something that Alex can talk about with you further, but we will be able to recommend that we increase that up to 16.6%, that we will be at that 2 months that you are recommended to have in your account. And that alone shows just huge progress. That shows stability within the city, and it shows that we're being responsible about how we're using those revenues that do come into the city to really provide a stable environment for our community.
So, would you say that Measure E saved us?
I would say it did a little bit more than save, especially at a time when you're at a deficit, but I would say it's still not enough. I mean, you can see how many gaps we still have in services. We are not able to restore what has been previously taken away or even do what the community needs. We have drastically improved, but we also have to keep in mind Measure O ending, and that's, again, 20 million. So in a sense, it's filling that hole of planning for Measure O, but we utilize all the funds that come in right now, and we still have our staffing levels in PD are still lower than they were in 2015. Fire, if you look at us on a comparison department-wide of a city our size, they would need 75 more firefighters. We get a lot of flack about our building permit process sometimes. I mean, a lot of that's staffing. And the cost of all services have just gone up. I think we all feel that every day, and what you pay for gas, what you pay for groceries when you go out, what you pay when you eat out.
And the breakdown on that, like you were mentioning, is, see, the perception is that sales tax is 9.25% and the city of Oxnard gets all of it. And that's not the case.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. We only
3%.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so and that's only part of the revenue, right? Then there's property tax, and even then we don't get
Yeah, that's 17, just over 17%. I think
of 1%, right? Of
17.6% of the overall the money that comes in. The county schools get the majority of the property tax
Right.
that comes in. One other unique thing to Oxnard right now that I haven't mentioned yet is the Amazon facility. I know we got some pushback about supporting that and taking that through the process as well, but I'd like to remind the community that provided 1,500 jobs, benefited jobs, which is an important part of raising the overall economy within our community. Benefited, high paying, not necessarily high paying, good paying jobs, stable income in your community. But another important thing on that, because it's located here, there is an income distribution or a sales tax distribution where it had a significant impact on our revenue. And right now there is a bill introduced, state legislation making it through that would highly impact that distribution as well on our revenue. But that has been one of the driving forces of that stability and being able to build back up our reserves. So a unique thing to Oxnard, few of them within California.
Yeah, no, I think that was a good thing to get Amazon here. Now, they were supposed to come here and then they didn't, and then they did, right?
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, some stop-start on that, but I mean, we didn't give them any breaks in terms of development fees. We didn't give them sales tax agreements. I mean, they had to go through the process to get there, and they built a very large facility that's employing a lot of people and really helping our sales tax numbers in the city.
Excellent.